Hello everyone, let's have a small talk about applicative functors with quantifiers and the design of an API for type inference constraint. So during my internship with Gabriel Scherer, we worked on a library called Inferno, which exposes an applicative functors and quantifier-like functions. It is actually a library for type inference using constraints. By trying to extend the library, we found a difficulty to write certain programs, so we decided to change the API in order to solve the problem. And our solution was to turn direct outputs into modal inputs. Actually, this is a more general approach than just for Inferno, because this can apply to any applicative functors with quantifiers with outputs, like functions that have the signatures that is similar to the one on the slide, so with an output in the applicative. So first, let me introduce to you Inferno. So as I said, it is a library for type inference constraint. It was developed a few years ago by François Potier. And so it allows you to translate from terms from an annotated language into terms that are annotated by their types, like for example translating ML terms into system of terms. At the core of the library, you have this type AECO, which actually pairs together a constraint along with a callback function that will be called when the solution of the constraint will be available. And this forms an applicative functor, and we have a quantifier function on this applicative. So as I said, AECO is an applicative functor, but it is not a monad. Why is that? Well, you probably know that in order to have a monad, you must be able to implement the bind operator with the type, the signature displayed on the slide. But this is impossible here because the solution to type inference constraint is global. It is not local. So you need to have the solution to all the constraints before having the witness of the term you want. So it is impossible here. For example, if you have the pair x and x plus 1, well, you must infer the type of x plus 1 before knowing the type of x, because only when you will see the constraint arising from x plus 1, you will be able to see that x is an int. So yeah. Now let me show you an example of code in using Inferno. So first, we have this recent OCaml feature that are called the binding operators. So this feature lets you build your own custom binding operator, so let and end, but actually it is just syntactic sugar for the code I showed on the slide. Keeping that in mind, we can take a look at a few functions from the Inferno API. So first, the exist quantifier that has the form I showed on the slide previously, with system of type in the output. Then we have a function that build equality between a constraint an equality constraint actually between an inference variable and a type. Then we have the let@, which is the identity that will be used to open exist quantifier. And then the let+, which is a map with flipped arguments, and the n+, which pairs together constraint by taking the conjunction of two constraints. Now we can take a look at the hasType function, which is the main function for type inference, because it takes as argument an ML term and an inference variable that will be unified to the type of this term, and it returns a constraint that when solved will return a system of term, so an annotated term. Let's take a look at the case of the pair, because it's not really hard to understand. So we want to build the constraint for a pair U1 and U2. What will we do is that we will create a first inference variable V1, second one V2. Then we will first W the inference variable for the whole pair to be equal to the product of V1 and V2. Then we will call ourselves recursively to have the two annotated subterms. And yeah, you can see already that it's kind of hard to read, because the ty1 and ty2 actually comes from the two exist. So it's kind of hard to see in the first place, but okay. And yeah, at the end of the pair case, you can see that we assemble together all the pieces to form the system of pair. So we decided to pass explicitly the type as argument of the constructor for the pair, but it is non-standard. It is just for the purpose of showing you this on the slide. Okay, but now we may have a problem, because in the previous slide I showed you, we created two inference variables, and it was a number known statically. But how can we generate an arbitrary number of inference variables? For example, if you want to infer the type of a tuple, this tuple will have an arbitrarily long list of arguments, and we want to generate an inference variable for each subterms. Of course, if AICO was a monad, we could have written the code here, so an auxiliary function on each that will be used with the monadic map. Then you will bind the result, you will split the result, and finally you will return the tuple. But as I said before, AICO is not a monad, so we are forced to write in continuation passing style. We cannot use the bind operator. Before going to the CPS solution, let me show you an example with another applicative. So for example, if we wanted to define a cloud that represent the computations in the cloud, and imagine we want to operate on a remote file, and this operation comes with a cost. We may want to define the function on the slide with input that takes as argument a path. But if you wanted to implement the following function that takes, instead of a single path, a list of paths, then we will be faced with the same issue on the previous slide with the non-static number of exists. So this problem may arise from other examples that use applicative functors. Now let me show you the CPS solution. So you have this function traverse, which takes as argument, well, the list of subterms and the continuation k. Let's keep the non-empty case, the empty case to go directly to the non-empty case, which is more interesting. So at the you can say the let add v equal exists, which will create an inference variable, and then the recursive call to traverse, and then you can see you have to rearrange your arguments so that it will have the correct type, and at the end of the code you call the traverse function and you build the systemf tuple. Okay, but this is kind of hard to read, because as you can see the type ty coming from the exist is defined kind of far from where the exist is expressed, so it's not very convenient, and yeah, you have to write in CPS, so it may be hard to decide what will be the correct, the naturally correct type of function you want to write, etc. So yeah, pretty inconvenient, but we have another solution. Our proposal is to turn direct outputs into modal inputs. So what does that mean? Well, if you have a quantifier function that returns an output, well, this output will be just moved in the input part, and it will be inside the applicative. So you can see the co in the second, the output co in the second signature. For example, for our exist function quantifier, it will be the systemf type, which will move in the as a modal input, and for the with input for the cloud, it will be the cost that will be moved as a direct out as the modal input from the output. Okay, so with that in mind, we are able to define our new API. So we define this type binder for conveniency, because it will be easier to read after that. So the exist will be a binder with this type. So as you can see, the systemf type co is now as an input, and the type of the let plus and let plus as a change. So now we can take a look at the new code. So on the left, the CPS code, and on the right, the new code. I hope it is okay for you to see this, and it is not too small. But let's take a look at the right code. So we define the traverse function like previously, and let's go directly to the non-empty case. You have this let at v ty equal exist. So now the ty, it is named close to where the exist is written, so it is really easier to read and to decide to see that ty depends on the exist. Then again, we call the traverse function recursively, and you get the vs for the inference variable and us prime for the subterms. So it's kind of easier to read again, and you have this, and then you call the continuation k. But you have this curious lines n plus ty equals ty and n plus us prime equals us prime. So what does that mean? Well, it's just that we need to unpack a constraint type for ty inside just a type and a list of terms constraint into just a list of terms. So you may think that it is kind of tedious and hard to read, but actually it's not a big deal, and we have programmed using this style, and it was not really hard. And yeah, at the end you have the reconstruction of the systemf tuple. So finally we experienced this kind of API, this new API, and turning outputs into modal inputs improves readability in our opinion. And actually this may apply to other code relying on applicative functors with quantifiers. So we will be very interesting if you have any experience with applicative functors and quantifiers. So yeah, thank you for your attention.